All right, let's talk about Miami. But forget the beaches and the nightlife for a second. We're diving into the city's seriously ambitious plan to completely rewire its government using blockchain. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's get into it. So let me ask you this. What if your rent check wasn't just gone every month? What if you were actually building a stake, a piece of ownership in the place you call home? It's not sci-fi, I promise. This is the big question at the very heart of what Miami is trying to pull off. For as long as we can remember, Miami has been the go-to spot for vacations. But right now, it's in a race to become a totally different kind of hotspot, a global tech hub. And they're not just playing with gadgets. They're trying to use this tech to solve real problems for real people, starting with the insane cost of living. And look, this is way more than just a cool idea on a whiteboard. The Miami-Dade Digital Commission is already firing up a pilot program, the very first of its kind in the U.S. They're looking to weave things like AI and blockchain right into the county's DNA. Every massive project needs a champion, right? Someone to actually push the big red button and make things happen. So who's the person leading the charge on Miami's digital revolution? That would be Chairman Elijah Bowdre, who heads up the county's cryptocurrency task force. I mean, his own words say it all. This isn't a side project. It's an official, top-down mission to reinvent the city's finances using this new tech. Okay, so big vision, a leader with a mission. But how does any of this tech jargon actually help the average person? Well, it starts with one of the biggest bills we all have: housing. The absolute core of Miami's blueprint is a plan to use something called tokenization to make housing more affordable. So what on earth is tokenization? It sounds way more complicated than it is. Just think of it like this. You take a real-world thing, like an apartment building, and you convert its value into digital shares or tokens that live on a super secured network. All of a sudden, owning a piece of that building is as easy as buying a share of stock. And the process itself is surprisingly simple. First, you digitize a property into these little tokens. Second, people like you and me can buy those tokens, making us co-owners. Third, when rent gets paid, it's automatically split up and sent to all the token holders through a smart contract. And the best part, you cut out the middleman, which brings us to the final, most important step. It costs less. And just so you know, this isn't some far-off dream. There's a whole ecosystem of companies already making it happen. You've got platforms like Realty doing fractional ownership, and others like Estate Protocol tokenizing rentals. The proof of concept is already out there in the wild. So what does all this mean for your wallet? Well, by stripping out all those layers of agents, brokers, and fees, the models they're looking at could slash housing costs by 20 to 30%. For anyone renting in a pricey market like Miami, that's a huge deal, a real game changer. The savings for individual residents are amazing for sure. But if we zoom out and look at the financial impact on Miami-Dade County as a whole, well, that's where this story gets into the multi-billion-dollar range. And before you think these are just made-up numbers, let's look at the city's track record. Miami-Dade has already generated over $90 million for things like anti-gun violence programs, all from crypto. The city of Miami itself pulled in over $5 million for affordable housing. So they've already proven this model can work. So that was the past. That's what they've already managed to do. Now for the big question. What does this new tokenized housing blueprint project for the future? Okay, so let's get into the numbers. First, the savings for residents. The blueprint projects that people in Miami-Dade could save almost $1.5 billion over 5 years. That's money going straight back into the community. But it's not just about saving money. By making it easier for people to invest in real estate, the model is expected to attract another $2 billion in brand new revenue and investment into the local economy. So you take the savings, plus you add the new revenue, and what do you get? A total direct financial impact of nearly $3.5 billion. That is the multi-billion-dollar blueprint we're talking about. Absolutely massive. Of course, a plan this huge, with numbers that big, it's never a slam dunk. We're talking about a high-stakes bet, and you have to look at the risks and the tough realities on the ground. You really have to look at both sides of this coin.
On the one hand, you have the potential for a completely revolutionary new way for cities to work and for people to build wealth. But on the other hand, you have huge hurdles. The crypto market is notoriously volatile, the regulations are a big question mark, and just getting millions of people to adopt a new system is a massive challenge in itself.
And that's really what it all comes down to. Miami, led by visionaries like Chairman Bowdre, is making a really bold bet. A bet that could totally redefine city life for the 21st century. But is it the genius blueprint for the city of the future? Or is it a crazy multi-billion-dollar gamble? The whole world is watching to find out.